So I want to share something very important with you. If you want your life to change, you have to start changing things in your life. It doesn't matter if it's your finances, it doesn't matter if it's your health, if it's your relationships. You have to start changing some aspect inside of those areas if you want your life to change. Now, in today's video, I'm actually going to be sharing with you lesson number 2 and sharing some of my thoughts that I got from reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. About 6 months ago, I decided that, hey, look, I am tired of being in this financial rut that I'm actually currently in, or that I was currently in at that moment. You know, I went to school, got a good job, making six figures. And what I ended up discovering is that just because you make six figures or just because you make a lot of money does not mean that you are going to be well off or that you're going to be financially secure. Now, many of you may be sitting there thinking, why is that? And the reason that is came to me by reading this book, and it's the fact that if you earn money and you don't know how to manage the money, you will just be a rich, broke person. You will still be living paycheck to paycheck. And I didn't want that for myself anymore. So I decided to take action. I decided that, hey, look, I need to start doing what rich people are doing. And I need to start learning what rich people are learning to be able to change my financial life. So one of the things that I started to do is I started to read books. And as I started to read books, I started to notice that there were little small lessons inside of these books that have a lot of truth to them. And I had to decide, do I want to take this or understand this to be the truth to help me get to where I want to go? Or am I going to continue to do what I always have done? And I decided that I wanted things to be different. So I decided to say, look, this is the new philosophy or the new ideas about money that I'm actually going to be able to, or that I'm going to accept. And that's what it's going to be going forward. So, lesson number 2 in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki says, if you want to be rich, you must become financially literate. Now, what exactly is financial literacy? Well, for my understanding, financial literacy is understanding how money flows, how money actually moves. When it comes to financial literacy, there are 4 principles that you must understand. And those 4 principles are: 1, you need to understand your income. What money are you actually bringing in every month? Is it from your job? Is it only from your job? Do you have other different ways of earning income? The second one is, what are your expenses? This is actually one of the things that got me in trouble a lot financially, and it's because when I would get money, and even sometimes before I would even get paid, my money would already be spent. And like, you may be in that position right now too. You know, your check is coming in, either it came in today or maybe it's coming in tomorrow, and you're sitting there thinking like, man, you know, I'm already thinking about, I got to pay this bill and I got to pay this and I got to do this and then I'm gonna go do that. And that is not the way that you actually want to be thinking about money. You do not want it to just go and be making you don't want it to be making a transfer, which means that once you get your money, you're transferring it to somebody else because you're just paying bills. Now, the third thing is, you must understand what is a asset. All right, you must understand what is an asset, and an asset is something that puts money into your pocket. That could be having a business. That could be maybe the stock market, you earning dividends. That could be maybe you're a consultant, or maybe you have found something that allows for you to basically be able to bring in other income outside of your job. Now you also must understand what is a liability. Now, for many people, and you may be in this boat, I know I was in this boat, they go and they get their income, and the money that they have left over, instead of managing it properly, they go and they buy liabilities. And you may be sitting there thinking, well, Matthew, what are liabilities? Anything that takes money out of your pocket. So maybe you are living in a house that you can't necessarily afford. Like, just because you can pay the bill, or just because you can pay the rent on something, or just because you can pay the car note on something, that doesn't mean that it's a good financial decision for you, because it is taking a lot of your income. You know, I used to be the person to say, look, I want to be able to look good. I want to be able to have nice things. And there's nothing wrong with having nice things. However, you have to be able to put things in the right perspective. And the perspective is you go out and you use your time to earn a lot of money, but then you're going and buying these things to look like you're making money, but then you have no money. So what I decided to do, especially after reading this section of the book, Robert Kiyosaki said, if you want to be rich, you have to develop a rich mindset. And I discovered that it doesn't take that long to develop a rich mindset. And all you have to do is change the order of when you actually purchase luxuries. And you might be sitting there thinking like, Matthew, what do you mean? Well, when it comes to actually purchasing luxuries, instead of going to work, get your income, and then purchasing liabilities and paying your expenses, what you want to do is you want to use your income to then go and buy assets, which remember we said assets are something that actually puts money into your pocket. So when you go and buy an asset, real estate, stock market, or anything that's going to add money into your income bucket, now you can use that money from the income bucket to go buy your luxury items, to go buy the cars, to go buy the nice house and different things like that. So as I continue to read down, Robert Kiyosaki said, rich people acquire assets. The poor and middle class acquire liabilities, but they think they are assets. And as we said before, an asset is something that that adds money to your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. And before we actually, or I end this video, I want to let you know that you are not late. All right, you are not late. There are some things that you may not have learned in your life, whether it's finances, whether it's your relationship, whether maybe your spiritual development or your growth or emotional. You are not late. Even by you watching this entire video, you are right where you need to be. Now you just have to give yourself time to do 3 things. The first one is you have to go and discover what is it that you actually learned about a specific topic. Maybe it's your finances that you want to fix. Focus on your finances. Maybe it's your relationship. Well, if you want to get better at your relationship, what I've discovered is you need to work on yourself. All right. So maybe you want to get better at relationships. Maybe you want to get better with your health. Well, you need to start focusing on your health. Whatever area that is, you can make a decision right now today to say, look, I want to be better. And just take one small step. Maybe instead of going out to, when you go to out to eat or to a fast food restaurant, maybe you used to go out and you used to spend $30. Well, maybe you still go to the fast food restaurant, but instead of spending $30, you say, look, I'm not going to spend more than $20 at this restaurant. That is still progress. That is progress because you are making a decision to say, look, I may not be able to be at the point where I can just cut things off cold turkey, but what I can do is I can slowly start to get the money or the amount of money that I spend at this particular location down. And that is progress. The second thing is once you go and you see and you identify where it is that you actually want to grow financially, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. Now what you have to do is you have to give yourself time to unlearn those things. One of the ways that I used to get frustrated with myself is I used to always beat myself up. Like, man, I haven't gotten it yet. Man, I haven't gotten it yet. For some of you watching this video, you've been doing things the same exact way for the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years or even more. You have to give yourself time to unlearn that. And once you do that, the third thing is you must be consistently disciplined. All right. Now, I want you to know that being consistently disciplined is not saying that you are not going to fall down. It's not saying that you're going to be perfect. And if you're not perfect, then that means that you messed up. Being consistently disciplined, even when you do fall, because you will, it's not about you falling down. It's about how quickly can you get back up. Are you going to say, look, I'm going to go at least go out for a walk every single day, and you go out and you end up missing one day? Are you going to continue for those days to add up and you're going to just change up? Or are you going to say, okay, look, I missed yesterday, I'm going to get back on it today? That is what being consistent is all about. So I hope that you were able to get some value from this video, and I will catch you in the next video.